Welcome to Sidetracked Podcast, and today we're talking about Tiger King. Meow. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy days to listen to Sidetracked Podcast. I am Mike Smith. Today we have Jason Boyd.
Hello.
And our homeless degenerate, Brian Francati.
They can't even see me, so to say I'm homeless, they probably wonder why you're saying that. You're gonna have to put a photo of me up or something.
They can hear the tin can audio. They know. Exactly
Oh
what we're talking
man!
about.
All right. Well,
Calling from inside a shipping container.
listen, I got soundproofing with these cardboard boxes around me, so you see,
dampener. That's right.
not
The
bad.
future. All right, so boys, today we are talking about the phenomenon known as Tiger King. So I wanted to take the time to really address the burning questions we all might have, but to really get into it, I wanted to get down to your initial thoughts. So we'll take it away, Jason. What would you think about Tiger King?
Tiger King was absurd in an interesting way. It kind of felt. Did either of you watch the O.J. Simpson docuseries thing, where it wasn't hit? Who was it? Was it Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh,
that
I
played O.J.?
loved that. The People versus O.J. Simpson. That was
That's the
very
one.
good.
I was
Yes.
going to ask which one, because for like a year there was like 5 different mini-series documentaries released.
But that one with Cuba Gooding Jr., it felt like that, but real, but like the people were playing themselves. It's like if OJ did that while everything was going on.
To me, it felt the opposite. It felt like the Making the Murderer, but or what was the one where they were like making of a murderer, where they're trying to prove this guy was innocent, but it's the inverse. They're trying to prove everybody was guilty of everything this entire series.
It was kind of like that too. I guess I just think Carole Baskin is like the white female OJ.
Oh, Carole Baskin. That bitch, Carole Baskin.
That's right.
I'm telling you, watching Tiger King, I felt like I enjoyed the whole thing, and I was waiting for it as it was escalating. I was waiting for it to all come crashing down on Carole Baskin, and that is really all I wanted. I'll tell you what, as despicable as they all were, I generally enjoyed the cast of characters, except for Carole Baskin and her husband. And
he was so weird.
Oh my God! So you get to the end of the documentary, and it's like watching a movie where the bad guy wins. Nothing happens to her. She gets away. She killed her husband. She fed him to tigers, and then she gets away. I couldn't stand it.
And that's why it's so much like OJ.
Yeah.
See?
Well, that's
Allegedly.
I'm more convinced Carole Baskins did it than I am OJ, though.
I will say I did not like any of the main characters. And the only people I liked were the people that worked for them. Like I sympathized, I felt bad for, I connected with, and just hearing them like you could see like emotional breakdowns, you could see like financial ruin from everything going on. Like I connected with those people more. Like who was his I'm gonna pull up names. See, I brought a cheat sheet and I forgot to use it.
Ranky was one of my favorites. The guy with the mustache.
Yeah. It was his.
The guy with no legs.
His presidential Joshua Dial.
That's like the documentary guy, or the guy that ran his campaign. Right?
Like watching his, and we'll get more into all the characters and stuff a little bit later. But like watching that breakdown, like him starting off with like it would be the worst time of my life, and like him going upbeat, like hell yeah, I can't wait to start. This is my career, and just like. I want to die. Like everything inside me, just like I connected with characters like that. I hated all the zoo owners, and every single one of them were awful.
I mean, yeah, when you get to like when you're talking about Bog Von Antle or whatever.
That guy was awesome. I loved that. Come on,
God.
Dude. Listen, he ran the only legit one that wasn't like shitty. He had a harem of women. They were free to go should they please, but they stayed there taking care of the Tigers.
Oh my!
He looked.
Brian
We
has
just figured out
drunk.
why you like
Brian
it.
has drunk the juice. He's already working there, caring for the monkeys.
Part time.
Listen,
$200 a week.
I liked that guy. I don't know why. The one that was bad was, what was the dude's name? Like Josh Lowe or some shit. What was his name?
Josh.
The guy who wore the bandana and the
James?
Oakley hat.
Oh, the guy that was
Jeff.
Henrietta, Jeff. Jeff Lowe.
He was the start of the real trouble.
Right, you know,
Let me tell you.
Joe brought home. You're not supposed to take or brought back somebody. You're not supposed to bring home to your mama, and it bit him in the butt.
That's true.
But we'll get more into that a little later. I wanted to know, watching the series, what was the most mind-blowing thing? What were you like, holy shit, I can't believe?
Ooh, I got one.
Yes.
The fact that he can sing.
Is that really him? I thought
think
it
it
was
is.
Tim McGraw the whole time.
But how would you get Tim McGraw to
He
sing
got
songs
Shaq
about
to
Tiger
come
King?
buy tigers from him, or
Yeah,
pet
but
tigers, so-
like, I mean, how many people are you going to buy
That's
Tigers
a lot
from?
different than getting Tim McGraw to sing an album for you.
You know,
He's not making that much at his janky little zoo.
I just can't believe. Yes, right now, everybody says he sung those songs, and that absolutely blows my mind. But part of me is like, that's not real.
I don't know if it's real. What's real? Everything is a construct, I guess.
And that's what
In
the
Tiger
Tiger
King, what is
everything
real?
Oh my God.
Everything's possibly fake.
So to me, the thing that was the wildest was, I think where it got to the point of, I was just like, this is preposterous, is when he married two guys at once. At that ceremony, he married both those dudes. And now, let me, disclaimer here, folks, I don't care who you marry. You listen. You can marry men, you can marry women. I don't care about any of that. Like, I'm cool with it all. But two at once? What is this?
Your bro Doc had 4 or 5.
Dude,
Yeah, you're gonna have people in Utah up your
But
butt
the
here,
guys,
man.
but
You're talking
no,
about not making people
no.
angry.
The guys he married weren't even actually gay. Unreal.
Yes.
What?
Yeah,
What? That's the weirdest thing. I'm changing my vote. The weirdest thing is that he got not gay guys to marry him. I don't know how he did that. What?
The power.
I can tell
of
you
tigers.
exactly how. No, not even tigers. That's the power of meth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Meth got those boys to marry him.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
But
You
his
see those
last
guys'
husband,
teeth?
Passage, was gay and just did it for the Tigers, right? Is that what we're saying then? Because I'm pretty sure he. Because
The guy that died?
Passage, his last husband, the one that married him before he went to jail.
the one who's still with him.
Yes. That guy, I think,
Maybe.
may have been homosexual, but I'm telling you, the other two came out and said, "Nah, they're sleeping with girls that work. They're sleeping with girls that work there and stuff behind his back. Like the front desk girl sleeping with one of the husbands. It's out of control. What is going on?" And they had a 3-man wedding. It was all filmed. They were kissing at the wedding, as you should. And these guys, meth. I tell you.
The better part is when they're taking pictures like shirtless in the field, all kissing each other. That was my favorite.
There's one where they're
Part
all
of that whole
they're
situation.
shirtless laying with each other. You seen that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird.
What blew my mind the most was at the very beginning, and it's not really mind blowing, but the director himself is going like, I just wanted to film about exotic snakes being sold on the black market, and I didn't realize 5 years from now the story I would have. And like,
Yeah, so
that statement is like, you couldn't prepare for everything. Like, there's nothing on this show you could be like, that's my everything. Everything is like, holy shit. It's another diamond in a rough that just blew my mind.
Yeah, I guess my whole thing was, every bit of footage that they had was from the guy who was going to do the TV show of him, right?
No.
Like, so all of this,
No, that's gone. So that was what blew up
that's
in
right,
the
that
fire.
burned in the fire.
Yeah.
Who was the documentary person then?
It
Did
was
we ever
this-
see
it-
that person?
I mean, the guy behind the camera was, I don't remember the film. Eric Good's name. Eric Good is the director and filmmaker. So it's all his footage. Essentially what happened is 2 years before starting on, or a year before starting on his project, he was looking at exotic snakes and reptiles being sold, and he talks about how he saw a lynx in the back of someone's van.
Oh, at a gas
Yeah,
station.
and he it kind of led him to Joe Exotic, and that's where he started filming. Now, at the same time he gets there, I believe Rick Kirkman was the reality TV star there. Rick Kirkman's, no, you know what? I apologize. He came like 2 years after Rick Kirkman, and he fills in the rest, I think.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say there was stuff.
You're right.
Where he was like filming a TV show
Yeah.
or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Initially.
That is
so
it's so weird.
So that's how this came to be.
But it's so crazy. Like, you know how you play like video games, like or watch crazy movies, and you're like, oh, there's no way this ever happens. Like, this is one of those things. Like, it's a movie or like a game. You're like, no way this happens in real life. Unreal. The whole thing just blows my mind.
Well, it was almost like it was a fake documentary, right?
Yeah.
Like I can see them making that and having it be satire, but this is real.
It's like American. Did you see American Vandal?
Oh, it is just
Yes.
like American Vandal.
It is a lot like that.
It is
It is
very
a lot
much,
like that.
you know, American Vandal each season had like 1 or 2 episodes too many. If they made it a little shorter, a little sweeter, it might still be around. But no, we got reality. We have Tiger King, which is actually better than American Vandal because it actually happened.
It's the best reality show I've ever seen. It's a shame a network didn't pick it up.
The things that happen below the Mason-Dixon, man, like you never find stories like that in New York State. It just doesn't happen.
No, does
No,
not.
Oklahoma though. Oklahoma, Florida.
Oh, Florida, man, that is. You know, one thing that always gets me with this type of thing is how do they get it so the Tigers are cool with them? How do they do that every time?
Since
They
birth.
get them when they're babies.
Yeah,
But
you raise them since
but
birth.
Sure, but are you gonna try that? I'm fucking sure as hell not. I'm just saying, like,
Well,
there
no.
are scenes where he's in a open pen with like 6 of them.
Yeah.
Like they're cool with him. How?
I mean, they did rip the arm off of Safe.
Where the accidents do happen. What was it?
True.
Who are the magical performers from Vegas? What are those guys' names? I can't remember. They're
Siegfried
yes.
and Roy.
So even after one of them, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Siegfried. But even after he was mauled, he still forgave the tiger and still has them as pets. That's wild. And
Yeah, but how? It's the same as if like Jason and I get into a fight. Like, let's say we just got really pissed at each other. I didn't maul his fucking arm off, but maybe we got into a fist fight. You get in a little pushing match with your friend, right? Like, you can forgive him because you're like, well, we got caught up in a situation. We got caught up in the moment. Like, that's what you got. The animal's no different, except it has a more aggressive tendency, and you're messing with that. So it's fucked up that anybody would put themselves in that situation, get bit by the tiger, and then shoot the tiger because it bit him. Like, what do you expect?
It's probably horrific. It's probably terrifying. Let's put that forward first.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
but I think on like a deeper level, I don't mean to get all serious, but I think it speaks
it
speaks volumes about the missing level of communication between human being and beast, right? Of all kinds. I mean, the fact that you can have an amicable relationship with 10 tigers that won't eat you, I mean, I think there's communication we're not engaging in amongst the animal kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's being able to connect with those animals, like on a spiritual level, quote unquote, right? Is that you don't have a basic language, so it's just reading off energy. I feel like I sound like Carole Baskins right now with the way I'm talking about this, but but it is true. Like, you build that relationship and that trust, right? But
I think it has a lot to do with he's the one feeding them
and raising them
and
since birth.
yeah. So you don't usually, if someone fed you every day, and you knew that that's who fed you every day, you don't eat them because they're the one who brings your food.
That's true.
Right?
That's why growing up, that's why I kept my parents around.
Right. That's why you didn't eat. That's why you didn't eat your
As soon as he
alive.
turned 21 and moved out.
Listen, let me
Dinner
tell you, it was.
Your parents haven't been around in years.
Who knows what could have happened if I found an alternate source of food growing up? This is
That's right.
better for everyone.
So getting into Carole Baskins, which I know Brian is thrilled about. Who was your most vile, most hated character on that?
Oh, it's her.
It really.
It's
really?
her, and it's her or Jeff.
Jeff Lowe is the scumbag. Like, he's the worst.
Is he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Think about.
Who did he murder?
Well, we don't know
They're
because
both
he's so
con
good at. Yeah,
artists.
he got away with it.
They're
Now,
both con artists.
but
Well, so did she.
well, yes, that's also true. You make a good point. But here's the thing.
We don't know. We don't
Don't know.
Allegedly.
You know. So I feel like you had this thing between Joe Exotic and Carole Baskin, and it was wild. But everything was like Bush League criminal stuff till that point. Then Jeff Lowe gets involved. He brings his scumbag cronies and his hitmen and his like that is the real introduction of like the low life element is when he joined the party. And when he got into the picture, the park fell apart. Joe Exotic fell apart. All his future deals are bad. Carole Baskin gets away. You see?
Yeah, I have to agree. Jeff Lowe, I think, is the worst.
He's a snitch.
Character on the show.
Yeah, he's openly like, yeah, I told on these guys. I got him arrested. I don't care. He's self-serving. He's openly like scumbag.
Like, it blows my mind that they have this. Maybe the prosecutors didn't have this, but I feel like a lot of the stuff there is very incriminating to him. Right, they have call recordings between Jeff and his lackey there. I don't remember his name, Alan. And they're like, yeah, just tell them what they need to know about what Joe wanted you to do, and then they'll give you a deal. Just tell them absolutely everything you want to know. And then he's talking about like, yeah, I might have nudged him, but I wanted that soundbite. I told him what he needed to do. I showed him how to kill her. Like.
Yeah,
like,
but
that has to be incriminating, right?
Well, you would think, but apparently in today's world, you can literally say something terribly illegal and like, you know, if you're helping someone else out, you don't get in trouble, you know. But like, but think about it. Maybe they, you know, he dimed people out. Maybe he got some kind of immunity.
Oh, he definitely did.
Yeah, for sure. And he, you know, he's the type of guy. He was saying it. Oh yeah, I just, you know. I did that.
So I guess you're right. He's a snitch. He is the worst.
Yes.
Carole Baskin doesn't snitch. She just feeds you to the tigers.
But she just didn't have to ruin. She was the thing that bothers me so much about Carole Baskins, right? Jeff is a shithead. Jeff did shithead things. Mm-hmm. Jeff makes a living doing shithead things, as it kind of showed, right? She is like. Has an inheritance from, I don't know, killing her husband.
Yeah.
And then proceeds to fuck up Joe Exotic's life because he's like, Carole Baskin's shitty. And she's like, nope, you're shitty. And I'm going to spend $2 million proving in court that you're so shitty.
Well, he stole their licensed stuff, their logos,
right, but that was
name.
that was retaliation to her being shitty. She tries to shut him down.
So Jason, her message should align with your message, right? Animal captivity.
But it doesn't.
She's a little
because
hypocrite.
she's doing the same thing. And like the best part of the whole show was Joe Exotic going through her park and being like, her cages are shittier than my cages.
So the one thing her
park was shittier.
If she's buying pups, that's a problem, right? If she's rescuing, it is shittier, agree. But if she's rescuing grown adult tigers and just letting them live out their life and that's it until they die because they're too old to get accustomed to wildlife, they can't really do that at that age. Not on Carole Baskin's side, but
it sounds like
her message was. What these guys are doing are bad. I have to take these tigers away. I let them live their lives. They'll die, and that's the end of it. The question is that model only works as long as you have a pipeline of old tigers to supply yourself with money.
Yeah, she's self-perpetuating.
Yes. So I'm surprised to see that you're upset with her going after Joe when her mission is to stop the
But she's not,
Yeah.
because if she stops having tigers, she doesn't make money anymore. So she doesn't really want
She
it
doesn't
to go
want that.
away.
Right.
And
Fair
that's
enough.
the problem.
Fair
And
enough.
it's
She's just
all a
saying she wants it
facade.
to go
She's
away.
doing the same thing Joe's doing. It's just it's the image, right? Like
Yeah, fair
like you know, like it's kind of like when you see like a scummy person walking down the street, you might kind of like clutch your purse across the street. But when you see Carole Baskin walking down the street, you know, you're like, well, whatever. What's this? She's got a clean-cut husband. She's well-dressed. She's a nice woman. If she wasn't crazy, she might be kind of good-looking for an older woman, right? I'm telling you, like Joe Exotic, though, he's got bleached hair, tattoos. He's wearing weird clothes. He's shooting a gun off. He's swearing. He's got 2 husbands, and they're missing teeth from meth. But they will tell you it's not from meth. He had problems with his teeth before meth. That's what he said.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yep, I believe it.
Not meth at all.
But it's all about
Meth
image,
out
right?
once.
Those guys look
Yeah.
like criminals. They look scummy. They look dangerous. She doesn't look dangerous. She's cute, you know. She's got a cute life, and they have a big kitty rescue, you know. So even if she's throwing her exes in there and stuff like that, that's why she's getting away with it. Versus this other guy's literally doing the same thing.
Yeah, she has volunteers. Joe has to, I mean, he's not paying those motherfuckers much.
Did you see
but
where they
He's
lived?
paying them something.
Yeah,
But he's paying them.
And Joe took
Carol's
down
not
and
paying
out people.
volunteers.
yeah, he
That's
did.
right.
Took down and out people.
Yep. It
And
was like
and
the
they
circus.
really.
The
I'll
day
get
old Walmart meat truck of people.
I will get
That's
to
who he
that
took.
later because it goes to a question I have, and those people. I feel bad for them. I'll say that. Did you find yourself, of all the conspiracy theories that were in, there's tons of them, right? There was obviously the hire for murdering Carole, the Carole Baskins. Did she do it? Didn't she do it? There was the lodge or the studio that blew up, and who was the one that destroyed it? Joe was out at a funeral. Or Joe found out that he didn't own anything. So tons of conspiracy theories in this show. Do you think any of them hold weight, or do you believe in any of the conspiracy theories at all?
So the only one I believe, I think, is that Carole Baskin killed her husband. What, Jason? Do you believe these conspiracies?
I believe that Carole Baskins killed her husband. I also believe that Joe Exotic blew up the studio shack. The alligator
Really
habitat.
interesting.
So
Well, he it showed at the end that he killed tigers. Oh, they were sick. Okay, maybe they weren't.
That's
Maybe.
true.
Maybe it was worth it to you to kill those alligators to cover your fucking ass. I don't know.
It might
I don't know.
have been. And can you think of something that would be so important that you'd have to kill alligators that belonged to the king of pop? Oh yeah, those were Michael Jackson's alligators.
what?
Have you guys not heard this? You both, I'm
No.
getting dead air from both of you. Are you guys kidding? Those alligators.
That sounds like a more ridiculous theory than any of
No,
the things we
How
just
did
said.
No,
how did
it's
that
not a
not
theory.
make it to the documentary? That's
I
huge
don't know.
news.
I don't know how that.
I
didn't
need
make
a
it
little.
into that- No. You bullshit. Y'all look this up. It is absolutely
Breaking
true.
news.
He was housing those alligators or something. Those alligators belong to Michael Jackson. You didn't hear this? I hope Jason's fact checking.
What?
I am
I'm
now.
going to now. So you're telling me that Michael Jackson dies, right?
No, I'm telling
Fine.
you, yeah,
He-
those alligators were Michael Jackson's.
Right, but he dies, and then someone goes, "What are we gonna do with these alligators?" And this
Oh
redneck,
my
Well, hold
redneck
on.
mullet wearing piece of shit's like, "I want them."
Did Joe Exotic
And
burn
Carole-
that
you-
down post 2009?
Michael Jackson's beloved pet alligators
Yep.
were killed in a fire at an exotic animal park in Oklahoma Park.
Yep.
Harold
Boom.
Wayne Interactive Zoo Park.
What?
Yeah. Hee.
How
Can
is
someone
that
tell me yeah, where's that story, Brian? Since you know so much about this, how did he get Michael Jackson's alligators?
I don't know. I'd have to imagine that Michael Jackson.
in Oklahoma, right? That
would-
seems a little
so
like
so Michael Jackson dies in
I don't.
2009.
Where's Neverland Ranch?
What year did this thing burn down?
2015.
All right, so
Oh.
Michael Jackson's gone.
Had him a while.
It's gone by
Yeah.
a lot.
So he might have bought those alligators because
At an
alligator
alligator auction.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
I cannot believe. Why would they not put that in there?
I don't-
That might be the most interesting thing to come out of the entire documentary.
I can't believe you guys didn't know. I feel like I came here with privileged information. That's really something.
You did.
But how did you
You
find
paid your-
out?
I don't know.
You
I
just
saw.
Googled it?
I saw it. To be honest with you, I'm sure I saw it shared on Facebook.
Probably. Luckily, it's true. He probably just read the headline on Facebook like everybody else does. But really, when you clicked in it, it was like his stuffed alligator.
April Fools.
Yeah.
It was from April Fools, dummy.
I like headlines. I'm a headline type of guy. Give me a good headline, and then I will go spread the rumor. That's what I say.
Great. That's
There you go.
excellent. Really fake news, trustworthy there. So the problem I have with all these conspiracy theories, and they did a pretty okay job at kind of trying to show different angles of this, is that how many documentaries we talked about it, Making of a Murderer. There's tons of those crime shows where they like try to prove how someone was innocent even though they were found guilty, or somebody's guilty even though they were found innocent, and they do a really good job at convincing you of the opposite of what happened. And the entire time they were talking about Carole Baskins, the entire time, the Shaq, Joe, Hit for Hire, all this stuff, I try to take myself back because they're going to try to push the narrative that sells. It's really eye-catching. And is it possible that that's what happened here?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, of course it's possible. Everything that is like this has some sort of journalistic bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can't really have a documentary that's fair because it's
enough.
boring,
Yeah, right.
Because it's like, well, here's why they did it, but here's why they didn't. And you're like, well, why did I just watch this for 10 minutes if they didn't do it?
I enjoy boring documentaries, actually.
Well, Godspeed. There's a reason why they didn't do it with Tiger King.
There's a reason why the History Channel is now ancient aliens and cursed islands.
Terrible.
That show's so good.
Garbage.
Shut
I
up.
miss my
Curse of
History
Oak
Channel.
Curse of Oak Island is an excellent show. It's like watching Indiana Jones in real life, and
Stop.
you
Stop,
are
stop,
wrong.
stop.
No. Well,
History every day.
Everyone
History
involved
every day.
in this documentary has come out saying how displeased they are with the result of it and what it's done to them. Now think about it. First of all,
Why?
Well, I'll tell you.
What is this doing to anyone that isn't shit?
Well, I'm telling you,
Jeff, Dave, Addles.
the
Yeah,
husband
well,
of Joe
shitty.
Exotic comes out, says they misrepresented him on the documentary. Says
Which one?
I'm not
the
really
one
his
the one that's
husband. I'm
alive,
not
the one
gay.
with the bad teeth.
There's two. Okay.
Well, they got video.
They all have
He's-
bad
he
teeth.
said they interviewed him after he got his new teeth, and there's pictures of him online with, dentures or whatever, and he looked normal. But
Are you talking John Finley?
Well, I'm talking about
Like the guy that has 3 teeth with the tattoos?
yeah.
John
So I'm telling.
That's not. Well, that's his first husband, and they're separate.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
I thought you were
is
talking about Dylan or whatever.
they
his
don't
name
want to
is.
show you him with normal teeth. No. That's not exciting.
That doesn't fit the narrative. The meth narrative,
Yeah.
Brian.
Well, here's an interesting question for you two gentlemen.
Okay.
If there, and this is perfect for the Sidetracked Pandemic Edition, if there was no global pandemic, would Tiger King have gone viral like it did?
I have a follow-up part B to that question.
Yes.
Isn't
absolutely.
it interesting that the parallels between you watching a documentary about tigers being caged and stuck and confined while you are also caged and stuck and confined?
Oh, cool. Fucking trippy, bruh.
Yeah,
But no,
man.
it definitely wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been as runaway of a fucking thing if everyone wasn't stuck at
Fair
home being
enough.
like, what do I watch? And then someone's Instagram story has their face on like this guy with a mullet, and you're like, what is happening?
I
There's
think
pictures of Rob Lowe dressing up as
I
Joe
think it would have
Exotic taking
been
pictures of his dog.
captivating regardless. I think it would have been because it's not just like a social justice commentary. It has something for everybody, and it just keeps adding more. Outside the first episode, we were like, oh, okay, it's about a zoo and kind of like a over the top zoo owner. Outside that first episode, it's every episode is like, holy shit, how are they getting away with this? How is he doing this? Why? How did that happen? Like nonstop. So it's very captivating. Even if you like hated how they treated the animals, how like what they were doing to each other, the corruption, all that garbage, it was captivating. So I think it would have been a success if we were not locked up right now.
I guess that's true, because Making a Murderer was huge.
Yeah.
And that nobody was stuck at home for that.
And there was no tigers or gun-toting polygamy. So
Yeah, I also think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I think that Making a Murderer is a far better documentary.
Oh,
Yes.
certainly.
Yeah.
But that's because you had who was the biggest expert in
Right,
the
in Tiger
entire
King. Yeah.
Tiger
It
King?
was probably
biggest
Joe
news
News
Exotic.
reporter?
no, the biggest experts they gave the smallest TV or frames for, right? Like I don't know why I'm stumbling on what I was trying to say there, but like the police officers, the investigators, the DAs, the prosecutors, like they had snippets and that's it. And then we went back to Joe talking about I'll fucking kill Carole Baskins. Like that. They didn't care about the facts. They just cared about blowing these characters out of proportion and giving them a life of their own.
Well,
This documentary featured a magician at one point, remember?
It's true.
There was a magician in here who was interviewed for this. So
But all his line was, "Yeah, I taught Joe how to do basic magic for kids." Like
oh
that.
man,
scene.
Why'd you bring this guy on? I don't understand. So like,
I always
if you break it down documentary wise, it is definitely amateur-esque, I would say. I don't know if amateur is the right word, and that's like I don't want to be rude to.
Well, Making a
to-
Murderer
Yeah.
just lent itself better to, like, oh, there's a blood spatter expert. There's a this expert.
well,
Like,
yes,
we're making a documentary about the tiger expert, so
right.
I guess we don't need no more experts.
Yeah, and Making a Murderer had like moments where you're like gasping at like shit that went down. Like this was like I hate to say it, but this was less of an injustice to the people involved. I think the ones who got bad shit deserved it.
terrible
Right,
people.
right. But Making a Murderer, you wonder, you know.
Yeah, less bad shit got what they deserved in Tiger King.
So yes, true, but
A
we
lot
don't know.
less.
We don't know. There's a ... at the end of the series, so
That's true.
But they
You don't know.
It's not like Brendan. What is his name? Brendan Massey or whatever. The guy who like didn't know what
yeah,
he was
man, that
admitting to. Like that stuff was messed up in that documentary.
yeah, because
Anyway, sorry.
that's wild.
So going into the people that they got justice and you didn't feel bad about it, kind of going into your biggest losers of the series, who did you kind of feel the worst for? Who do you felt lost out in this whole thing?
What was his name? Ranky?
Yes.
Oh,
Frankie.
his like the guy that ran everything. Like that guy was dope. He had no legs. He had
Yeah.
a job that he loved, and now
Yeah.
what?
He lost.
He's
his
not working for
Tigers.
Jeff. He doesn't have tigers. He doesn't have his job.
Yep.
He's just a shell of his former self, and he was like the nicest guy.
That is true.
I felt the most bad for Ranky in the end of everyone.
That's
That guy was the guy that
listen. Hey,
was sad.
he was a good one. I felt bad for him. And well, the thing is, they make you want to feel bad for Joe Exotic as well. But you read some. Well, I'm telling you, you read some stuff about him, and it is sketchy. They left some pretty gnarly stuff about him out of that documentary, man. So,
Go on.
well,
Yeah, I'm about to say you've already.
all
You're
right,
the guy-
all
you're
right,
the
all right.
expert in
I'll
Tiger
tell you,
King, bro.
I can't tell you if this is true or false, but
Okay.
but
Oh,
I
boy.
read.
Unsubstantiated rumor.
I read a
Headline time.
headline yesterday. I didn't read
Famous headline. He didn't read the article, just the headline.
I read a headline yesterday that someone that used to work for Joe Exotic witnessed him and groups of other employees perform sex acts on the animals. I read this headline, and I'm not putting it past him either. What do you think?
Ew. On what? An alligator?
I don't-
On Michael Jackson's alligator? Did he learn it from Michael
I
Jackson?
I don't know. I don't know. But what do you think?
What animal? So I'm calling bullshit for one reason and one reason only. I'd like to see you under any circumstance get into a cage and try to fuck a tiger or a bear or an alligator or a bobcat.
Okay.
I have a tough time.
Anything
I have
that
a
he
tough
has.
time believing it as well because if they had the reality show that was documenting for several years. You have the Joe filmed himself. Like he filmed himself saying, "I'm going to," or agreeing with the lawyer that he needed to do something about the contract he had with what's his name there,
Rick.
So like he filmed himself in incriminating situations already. Then you have the documentary. Then you have the Joe show. Like I have a tough time believing that that happened.
Well, that's
Rick,
because
turn off the camera. It's time to run Train on the Tiger.
the reason that you're The reason that you're having trouble believing it is that you're thinking of the obvious. How could a man have sex with a tiger, which is probably very hard to do?
Probably the amount of sleeping drugs he had that.
Well. But what you're also not thinking is, what if he had like pigs or goats or some kind of animal that doesn't have retractable claws and can't fight back from a drunken, redneck mounting it? What about that? What if he had sheep? And as I say this, I know you all know that there are human beings out there that fuck sheep. This is a thing we've joked about our whole lives. It's out there. So what if that's the case?
I didn't see a sheep in that documentary. It might ring true if I saw anything smaller than like a fucking bobcat who would rip your throat.
What
out.
if he fed the sheep to the lions? They're there.
This isn't Jurassic Park. And he didn't have tigers. He's the Tiger King, not a lion.
But there were lions, and the Lion
They
King.
can't
do
They'd
Lion
got
King.
sued the shit out of.
Yeah.
If it was
that he had lions.
If it was Jurassic Park, the theme would have been the one with the harmonica.
Oh, awesome.
Way sidetracked from who the biggest loser was, talking about scurrying animals.
Oh yeah, Ranky was my biggest loser though. I don't know if anybody else has.
I'm assuming Brian's is the animals that have been violated.
Yeah, seriously, those tigers, man, they're all
biggest loser.
They're
the
very
biggest
cool.
loser's the sheep that you didn't see on screen.
Oh God, I think that for a while there, when I first watched it, I was hyped for Joe Exotic. I felt bad for him.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him, but after some consideration, I probably would go with the guy with no legs who lost a life that he loved, or the girl who got her arm bitten off in the cave.
Saf.
Oh,
Saf.
Yep.
Saf. That was
Felt for Saf because she was like, I'm not even mad.
Yeah.
I love this job. I love these animals. And it's like,
unbelievable.
oh my God, girl.
Unbelievable.
You're making like $1.50 a day
Yeah,
or
I
whatever,
know.
working 18-hour days.
Yeah, to me, it was Joshua Dial, who I said earlier, right? Just
Mhm.
The
being there to
campaign manager.
witness that, to witness Joe's husband Maldonado. I can't remember his first name. I just remember his last name. Travis.
Oh, dude, I forgot that he
Yeah.
blew his brains out.
Oh, that was
See the
crazy.
flash.
awful.
Yeah. And he's
And
like,
he just like Macaulay Culkins and is
Yeah.
like,
and he's like, I wanted to leave, but I felt like
I thought it
Joe
was a
and I
joke.
were connected.
yeah.
And
And,
I-
he was
I
like, I
couldn't-
thought it was a joke. I thought
Yeah.
he was joking. He was like a real jokester.
Well-
And it's like, good Lord.
Yeah, well, because he would always point the gun at people.
Yeah,
and- yeah.
It's
But
not like it looks in the movies as like haunting, like
Yeah.
a haunting line where it's like, oh my God.
but
you
he
watched that guy blow
talks
his
about
brains
he's
out.
like Joe needed somebody. I wanted to go, but I felt like we were connected by this ghost, this spirit, or this death that happened. I couldn't leave, and like for the longest time, he wanted out.
Oh,
but he couldn't.
yeah, that's
that,
just,
and then Eric Cowie,
which one's
the
that?
long blonde hair, the goatee.
Oh yeah, he was.
The guy that looked like Dog the Bounty Hunter?
Yeah, that guy.
a very skinny one. And the reason is at the end, right? Like he talks about all the tigers that were shot, and he's like, they were I love those tigers. I took care of them, and I had to hold them down while Joe did it. And like at the end, he's just sitting there on his bed. He looks strung out.
Oh
Like,
yeah, he's high as he's high
he
as
looks like
fuck.
he needs help, right? Like he lost it after losing the animals. Like you could see, there's a huge difference between him at the beginning and him at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like just why it was pretty much the crew. Anybody that worked for these dicks, I felt bad for, but those two mainly because you could see like a complete 180 in their whole attitude, their whole persona, right?
100%.
100%.
It was awful. It was awful.
Yeah.
So one last question I have for us is, zoos have been around since 1500 BC, since Egyptian period, since the Chinese dynasties, kind of varying in how they ran, obviously becoming more humane. But the zoo, or this documentary dropped, zoos bought baby tigers, zoos also practice in these things, and you forget that these places were also registered as zoos. They have the same protections as zoos. So does this change, and to a more serious-ish note, does this change your view on zoos?
Oh, I hate zoos.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah. No, zoos are archaic.
So no.
So it doesn't change my view on the zoo. But first of all, zoos should have all their protections removed, and zoos should be outlawed. Second, zoos should turn into preserves, and the preserves should be like dedicated parcels and huge areas of land where these animals can thrive. I cannot stand zoos. You want to make money off it? You put those animals in the wild, and you put people in a cage car, and you take them on a safari. But the way that the way that they do it is terrible. I mean, it's basically a prison.
Yeah.
So
Safari's a good point.
So to play devil advocate ish, what about zoos that are rehabilitation centers where the animal is in a zoo to heal and to recover? Do you approve those things, or do you think those are just separate? Because that's how, for some zoos, not all, they get funding through selling tickets, and then they use that money for rehabilitations. Because a lot of people don't donate to zoos. Sure, some people do, but
so I think that's a little bit different. But they have to be absolutely honest about rehabilitating the animals and then returning them to the wild. I think that's like the big thing. If that's the case, I support it, but I prefer that they only really aid in protecting them from poaching, making sure endangered species are able to thrive, things like that. I don't like the whole charge middle America to come gawk at this animal and throw stuff at it and yell stupid things.
Yeah, it's unreal that they have the same protection as zoos. I'm sure, again, I don't like the idea of zoos, but that what the exhibits, Carole, Joe, and I mean Dave Adler's, I think it's Dave, right? Adler's, his zoo there was a little more upscale, but still, that they are able to have the same protections as zoos blew my mind. But yeah, again, agree with you on that.
Well, I guess I don't understand how private zoos have the same protections as public zoos.
So from what I read is there's really only one federal mandate, and all these private and regular zoos are considered exhibitors. They're all the same classifications, and they really only have to follow these guidelines. And they're not really strict guidelines per se. So it's just because there's no regulation is what it comes down to.
Don't fuck the animals.
Yeah, oh man.
That's rule number one.
That is.
I don't think I saw that in the bill actually when I was looking at it.
Well, Brian, then maybe what they're doing ain't that bad.
Well, if they here's a question. If when you're hired at a zoo, there's no guideline that says don't fuck the animals, do you get a final warning, or do you get fired if you fuck the animals?
Depends. Is it a at will state, or what's Oklahoma? Anybody know?
Yeah.
You put somebody on a performance improvement plan for not fucking animals.
Yeah, if you can fuck the animals less.
So I think you know why we're all here today. If you could just sign the paper and not do that again, that'd be great.
Yeah. They didn't tell you not to.
Yeah. There's no federal mandate. I just don't understand.
I didn't get a handbook when I signed on to this gig. I don't know what to tell you.
So I guess final thoughts about Joe Exotic. I'll give.
He has the plague.
Yes,
we're talking about the plague.
He doesn't have it.
He had.
I thought he did.
No, he will. Yeah, he. There was a article again that was Yahoo, so I don't necessarily trust it too much. But this was the only source I saw that said he had contracted COVID-19.
Oh.
Hold on, I'm fact checking it right now.
Oh boy.
Because I also
breaking news left.
Yeah, dude, Michael Jackson's alligators. That's the big one, right?
That's a big one. That's a big. The other stuff I don't even want to talk about.
Yeah, no, you're right. We don't need to retread that, step.
He may not have contracted it. He is in isolation because someone else at the prison did test positive for it.
Crazy.
So he may or may not. But technically, we shouldn't know that anyway. That's what HIPAA is. We shouldn't know if he has COVID or not. Unless someone comes out and says, hey, here's my medical history. Yeah. No one can be like, he's got it.
Well, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
Unconfirmed.
Another plague. Can we talk about how what the heck's his name? Tim Stark would let animals eat out of his mouth?
What?
If you want,
Tim Stark?
He worked with Jeff Lowe after Joe Exotic.
Oh yes, he was always sitting to the side with like
he was always wild.
Yeah.
He would put water in his mouth and go.
That's gross.
And let his,
so
that's how disease spread.
That is gross. But then again, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but growing up, I've had very close relationships with animals. I've had a bunch of family pets. We grew up with a bunch of dogs. I've been like on that level with dogs and cats and stuff. All right, no fucking animals. All right, why did you? What I'm saying though is like, if I held like a biscuit in my mouth and the dog that I liked was messing around me and grabbed it out of my mouth, I wouldn't be disgusted. Haven't you ever had like your dog slobber on your face and
I guess, but I didn't open my mouth and have a monkey stick his
mouth
we're talking.
Yeah, sure. I am trying to let a monkey reach into my mouth.
But that's what he's doing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
He has a monkey.
No monkeys.
An orangutan or a chimpanzee.
No monkeys. No bats. Y'all know I ain't sharing food with no bats after this. That's why I'm stuck in my house. Is bats.
After this.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
before this, I was all about bats.
Yeah.
Batman was his favorite. After this,
oh no.
Oh, I still no.
I
still love Batman, but it's.
Do you?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like.
I feel like Batman doesn't abide by the quarantine. He goes out.
That's right. Really, he's a menace. He's a vigilante.
He goes
menace,
out
Brian.
with the culprit of this disease.
He is the bat.
Well, what's crazy too is you already know that he's got the vaccine.
Oh,
he's got the vaccine. If
still waiting for that issue.
Let me tell you something. If Bruce Wayne got COVID-19, he'd pop something out of his belt and be like, "I've tested this," and that would be it.
It takes one billionaire to get the disease before it's cured.
Yeah.
Would there be any supervillain scarier than Man Bat right now?
I don't know, man. I don't think so.
Boy.
All right. Well, I think we are done with Tiger King. Rawr.
It's sad. So one final passing thought.
Okay.
I watched all of this with Britt in one evening.
Yes.
In a row.
Okay,
did everyone?
I watched it. I watched it in one sitting for sure.
I watched it twice.
That's crazy.
I watched it
to watch it in one. Like so many people watched it straight through.
Yes. It's 6 episodes. 7.
That's 6
7.
hours though. You couldn't be
6:45 minutes. So.
Okay,
fine,
5 hours.
whatever.
It's still a long time. There are certain people who can't get.
You're telling me?
Yeah, they can't get through Lord of the Rings or something. Yeah, you're watching.
You're going.
You know what I mean?
Go to a movie theater and see a 5-hour movie. And
it's captivating, but we're trapped inside again. I don't. To go back to your question before, would people watch this if we were in quarantine? Yes,
maybe
but we
not
wouldn't
at once.
one sit that at all.
There's
a lot of one sit throughs happening right
now.
Oh
my god, it's crazy.
Brian, outside of fornicating with animals, final thoughts?
Oh man, I'm grateful for Tiger King. I think it held the people over in the month of March. I truly do. I got to be honest with you. Society was lost. They needed something to like hold on to during these dark times, and I think Tiger King like brought the people together. More than the struggle of humanity being common from sea to shining sea in this terrible global crisis. What actually brought these stupid fucking Americans together was the Tiger King documentary. So, I guess that's what I like about it. And it's hilarious, and we get to have this conversation because of it.
complaining about toilet paper and Tiger King are the two things everyone had in common
Yep.
during the fucking pandemic.
Yep. Oh,
All
God.
right. Well, I want to thank everybody for listening today. Tell us your thoughts on Tiger King. Who did you hate? Who did you like? Do you think Carole did it, or did you think the Tiger King was framed? If you have any other suggestions on topics you want us to talk about in future episodes, leave comments and we'll do our best to accommodate. Thank you for listening. I'm Mike.
I'm Jason.
Brian here. Have a good night. I'm not saying the same thing you're having, and I also think we should close out the show by saying good night, all you cool and
For copyright,
No, you
infringement
can't
reasons, I'm
copyright
not
a
gonna do that.
sentence.
You say that, but
She
she sure ran after Joe.
She
For
took
a
a
picture.
picture after it was posted, and Joe posted it, took it, bought it, copyrighted it. We're not doing this.
Fight that bitch, Carole Baskin.
Jason,
There we
when
go.
when we edit, you're gonna hear a bleep during that part.
I might do that. I'll bleep parts of it so that the comedy's still there because
Get
it
the
was
comedy.
funny.
It was funny.
We can sign off with the group "Fuck Carole Baskins."
Yeah, fuck Carole
All
Baskin.
right. Fuck Carole Baskins. All right, everyone. Take care and thanks for listening.